Hey, what's up guys? Tactical Pickle here, and today's video I wanted to talk about my next project that I've been working on. So now, I've talked about this before in a previous video that dealt with my 3D printing, and I've really enjoyed making a lot of these different style of game props. Like right here, this is the Hunter knife from Destiny, and then I have my Hawk Moon over here. Obviously I got the Iron Man helmet right here. I made my Tactical Pickle Gaming logo right here, little standing placard type thing, and I really enjoyed making these different props. And one thing that I've really wanted to do for a long time, probably ever since I've owned my 3D printer, I've wanted to 3D print my own Pipboy. So that's what my next project has been. So I got some video clips right here I'm going to show of a couple of the parts actually 3D printing, and they're all going to be sped up real fast. I was able to actually figure out how to do some really cool time-lapse videos because some of the parts took a considerable amount of time. There was one that took, I believe, 12 hours to print. It's actually the largest piece. It will be actually, I believe, the last clip that I'll show. Out of the 12 hours, I think the clip came down to about 2 minutes, which was really cool. I'll list the name of that app down and below of what I actually used. I used an old tablet to actually record it, and it was an Android app that I was able to record this time-lapse video with, which was really cool. I like how it turned out. Hopefully they turned out as well on my actual computer and obviously in the video here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut over to a couple clips of those. All in all, I believe all the parts came out to a little over 30 hours, 27 to 30 hours total between printing everything, having to do a couple reprints because with 3D printing, sometimes depending on how you orientate the actual object before 3D printing, can cause it to print incorrectly, or there might be an place within the 3D print where you need it to be printed. It needs to be more accurate than other areas, so you need to print it based on a certain plane, which there was a couple of them that I actually had to do that. So there's a couple reprints. So all in all, came out to about 30 hours. So let's go ahead and cut to the clips of those 3D prints. So here we are at a culmination of about 30 hours of printing. So the very last clip that I showed was actually this piece right here printing. So this one took about 12 hours in total to print because it was the largest piece. All in all the pieces turned out really great. I had a couple issues with the actual support material sticking too closely to the actual print that it left some plastic behind, which it'll take a little longer to clean up, but that's not an issue. As you can see, there was a ton of parts that all these right here, I wasn't able to actually line it up to make it easier to view, but there was a ton of parts, as you can see, so it's going to take some time to put it together. I chose this one when I went on to my mini factory, and I'll post a link to the actual one that I 3D printed. I chose this one specifically because it was more complicated of a 3D print than most of the other ones that I was coming across. A lot of the other ones, they were just fully assembled pieces that were just cut and you would print it and assemble it. Wasn't as detailed. But this one here is going to have a working latch for when it's actually assembled. You'll have to be able to put it on your wrist, and it'll have a working latch to actually, excuse me, I burped there, to actually have it on your wrist to latch it on and unlatch it and take it off. It should have a working tape deck. So in the game, you put these tape cartridges in there. So this one should have a working one. I just have to find the actual instructions on how to assemble it and put it together. So I wanted to do just a rough assembly of it so you can get an idea of what it'll look like when it's finally all together. So I'm going to do the final assembly of it off camera because there's a couple pieces that I still need for the hinging on the actual, so this is kind of just a mock-up of it right here. So I'm going to need little bits of metal. I think it's 3mm steel rod that'll actually press into the different hinge points so that it can hinge and also stay together. Sometimes you can get away with using pieces of the material that you actually use to print with. Something like these right here, these little white circular things are actually dowels that you use to join the pieces together. You can use that if it's not going to be a whole lot of strain, but the moving parts, you're going to want something stronger like the 3mm steel rod. So we'll just do a quick little assembly of it. So I've test fitted some of these parts together before, so they do have some of the plastic dowels currently installed, because I wanted to get an idea of what it actually looked like when it was assembled. So they're pretty easy to match up to the different parts there. So that's the, let's see, where are you at? This guy's hiding right here. So we need to, okay, so this is the main body of the actual Pipboy 3D print. Let me see if I can get another dowel in here to actually help just hold it together a little bit better, so you guys get a nice idea of what it's going to look like when it's fully assembled. So there's the main front part, and then here you have the back part. So it's going to hinge right back here on this piece. So I got to do a little bit of cleaning to make the hinging points a lot smoother. And then obviously this is you're gonna want a piece of the steel rod going through in that location there. And then you have the Pipboy frame right here. So once that's popped into place, there we go. So this is kind of just a rough together version of what the final product's going to look like. Obviously I want to sand it down, clean it up, and then eventually paint it. I might print out some decals for like the radio tuner right here and different stuff. But that'll come later. Obviously, I need to eventually. Well, I'll have to get this together. Right up here is where the tape deck assembly is eventually going to go. That's the tape deck drawer right here, the actual door to it. So there's quite a bit left to do on it. I was really excited. I wanted to do this one specifically, like I said, because it was more complicated than a lot of the other ones. So this one will actually be able to hinge and go on your wrist and lock into place with where's that piece at? I lost it. Here it is, right in front of my face. So this is actually, put this on backwards, so that presses into place like that. So this here will actually be able to clasp onto right there, and you'll have a hinge point right here, so you'll be able to lift this up and it should press open this clasp here. You'll be able to undo it, lock it back onto your wrist right there. So as for the screen, there's a couple things. This was actually designed for to use a phone. When I did my original test fit here, you got this piece that's supposed to slide in here to secure the phone into place, to create the full-on enclosure for your wrist here. Problem is my phone's too large to actually fit in there and use the Android app for Fallout 4. One thing that I'm considering doing is actually purchasing a Raspberry Pi Zero, which is fairly small and it should fit nice back in here, and get a 4.3 inch display, so that it's I believe they have a 4.3 inch touchscreen display, and load that up with Android and actually have this touchscreen right here, so you're able to display, you know, the Android app if I load that on there, or you know, you can just have it running Android where you're able to do different stuff. So I'm really excited to be able to start working more on this. I think it turned out awesome. It turned out really well. I printed it in PLA, which is a really easy material to 3D print in. It's nice and strong. Whoop. I always seem to knock something over whenever I'm shooting these videos. But it's strong. This one's the translucent, but eventually it's going to be painted. Really easy material to work with. So really excited about this. If there's see, I'm just terrible at this. If there's other stuff that you guys want to see me 3D print, let me know down below in the comments, and I'll see if somebody's made a model of it to 3D print. I'm not very good at it, but you know, if there's something that maybe one of you guys out there has that you've designed that you want to see actually 3D printed, let me know down in the comments below. You know, I can definitely do a video on that, which would be pretty cool. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button. Most of this will probably go out to people that I subscribe to, because the 3D printing people are more specific, looking for troubleshooting. But if not, you know, if you're new to the channel and you're not subscribed, consider dropping a like and hitting that subscribe button. Maybe drop a comment and let me know if there's something you want to see 3D printed. I really want to do a lot more items 3D printed, you know, game related, like I got here. I never got around to actually showing this off here. I talked about this in one of the videos, was creating or 3D printing this, which is Reaper's mask from Overwatch. I never ended up finishing it because I was really disappointed with how this model came together. You know, there's a bunch of lips here for the way the print met up. A lot of gaps, and I just didn't like how it turned out, so I never really finished it. I did hit it with a rough coat of paint. I might hit it just a little bit more. From a distance, I mean, it looks pretty good. I guess it shows up fairly nice on camera there, but up close it's really rough, so this might just end up being a wall piece. You know, I mean, I heated it up a little bit, so I was able to actually shape it to the size of my face, which was pretty cool. I thought about getting a type of material, that black meshing that they use kind of like on Halloween masks. Given that Halloween was yesterday, I might be able to find some clearance ones that I can strip out that black mesh material and fill it in, and maybe clean it up just a little bit more before I hang it up on the wall. So a little bit of a miss on that one, but this one turned out awesome. My hunter's knife. So I really enjoy doing these style of videos. So like I said, if there's something you want to see, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll do my best to work on that. I'll definitely have an update video on this one here soon as I assemble it, get everything together, and hopefully I'll do a rough matte green finish on this before doing final paint. I want to do I'll get that green sandable primer and just do a rough coat on it. That way it'll show up a little clearer on all the different details and everything that this actually has within the design, all the different knobs and stuff that are going to attach on here and everything. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next video.